Well, I was trying to figure out what the hell is all the hype about. So I went on my Spotify and I was listening to like some of her songs. I was like, Antihero's a little bit of a jam.
Sip and Chat Cafe.
Welcome to Sip and Chat Cafe, a safe space for stimulating conversations. No topic is off limits. If it matters to you, it matters to us. I'm your host, Atara G, and our producer, Motown Maurice. For information about this podcast and more, please visit motownmaurice.com. So in 2020, during the lockdown, I was invited to be part of a unique experience. I was on a game show. I was on a game show called Get a Clue. And my team included Motown.
Yay.
And our guest today, Kori.
Yay! That was so fun.
That was fun. I actually have a trick question for you.
Okay.
Do you remember our team name?
So I was trying to remember it the other day. So it was something about food initially, right? Like the snack pack or something, and then it changed. What?
We looked it up this morning.
What was it?
What was it?
The Bible Thumpers?
The Sunshine Bunch.
Oh my gosh, that's right. It did. It was.
I was like, Kori picked that because there's no way I would pick that. And I just went with it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's recording. All right. 3, 2, 1. Sunshine Bunch.
I didn't know we were going to do that.
Sunshine
Bunch.
They're always on delay.
Okay. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And it's so funny that you're here to talk about obsession.
I mean, just a little bit.
I mean, we think of obsessions as like a bad thing, but you're actually not a bad thing. You're a very great thing.
Thank you.
And you've got two very interesting obsessions.
Yeah. I have several, but I'm gonna tamp it down to just 2.
Oh, okay. So you're an obsessive then.
So what had happened was when I get excited about something, I get very excited about it. So yeah. And if I'm not excited, it shows on my face.
Really?
Yeah. When I don't like things, I'm one of those people where if I really don't like something, you'll see me just kind of like stare off because I know if I don't, it's on my face. It's very apparent.
Dang.
But when I'm excited, it's like, ah!
No poker playing for you because you don't have a poker face.
No, I will lose all the time. I'm like a puppy.
Well, let's get into your first obsession.
All right, cool.
Which is something that I'm very familiar with because my brother, my mom, and I also grew up with this. We weren't obsessed about it, but just like you, at the grocery store, we always picked up a couple and we'd come home and we'd sit around and read them together.
Oh my gosh,
and then when we were done, we'd hand them off.
You have no idea how happy that makes me. Oh my
So
gosh.
I actually very much, I know about the double digest.
All my life.
I too have my favorite characters. I too have my opinion.
What?
Yeah.
I had no clue this was going this way. I'm so geeked right now. You have no idea. Oh my gosh.
So folks, if you haven't figured out, we're talking about
Archie freaking Comics. The greatest comics on the face of the earth. Archie Comics. See, I should have known because when I mentioned, okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Go, just go.
No, go ahead.
Because I said earlier, so I love Archie Comics, but Archie's trash. Like Archie himself, utter trash. And you agreed, and I was like, did she read them at some point? Because most people, if you don't read Archie Comics, you think, oh, Archie's this great guy. He's this, he's that.
He's not.
Archie is trash.
He's trash. He's your typical privileged guy who has a great best friend and these two girls who just love and adore him, would do anything for him. One who clearly really cares for him.
Clearly.
One who clearly is just using him.
Clearly.
Of course, he wants to chase the one who is using him and use the one who really cares about him as a backup.
All day. Trash.
Trash.
Archie. But here's the other thing, though. the more I've been reading them, it also depends on who's writing the story. If you notice, the stories where Archie is with Chuck, the only Black person in the Archieverse, Chuck and his girlfriend Nancy, they get better, like we get more Black people more recently. But all my favorite ones with Archie are when him and Chuck are like on like a secret mission to either like if there's like some thugs that they have to like go up against, or if there's like an athletic competition. The storylines where he's with Chuck, Archie's awesome. He's very noble. He's like more sensitive. Usually he's like dating Betty in those, if they do have a love interest pop up. So it's something, when he got the brother with him, Archie acts right.
So,
but
that's interesting. When did Chuck show up? Because I don't ever, like, I stopped reading Archie comic books probably in my freshman year of high school, which is when I moved to live with my dad.
So Chuck showed up, I want to say in the 70s, but if you're reading digest, and this is one of the things I love about the digest, depending on what you pick up, the digests are from so many different eras. It's not just like one year. You don't get Chuck all the time.
Yeah,
so,
I don't recall Chuck, but because we were reading, like these.
Wait, where is, okay, so I brought my digest. They also have double digest. I did bring a double digest. So the digest, it's a double digest, and now more recently they have the jumbos.
Okay.
But here's Chuck. So that's Chuck.
Oh, maybe I do remember Chuck.
Yes.
How's it
Chuck.
going, Archie? If I were a pinball machine, I'd read Tilt. So corny. Like, but I love it. It was so wholesome and such just a great way to escape from like life, traumatic episodes as a high school person.
See, there we go. Thanks, Archie. You're the greatest and the worst. Yeah, he's the worst. Go ahead.
I thought it was interesting how, because they always say blondes have more fun. I think they reversed the.
They did. Like, I kind of like that, though.
Yeah, I'm glad that they kind of made like Betty not the doormat, but like, she wasn't a doormat, but she was the fun one. Yeah. I'll do anything for you, Archie. You can always count on me. And then Veronica with the dark hair is like, this dark-haired Raven vixen who's just like wealthy and using Archie for
all the dough
for all his stuff.
Exactly. And so this is where I love Archie Comics so much. So we've got the Archie and the Jughead and the Betty and Veronica. And I love that you always have to say Betty and Veronica in that order.
Exactly.
There's actually a comic strip where they talk about that, where Veronica's like, why do they always say your name first when talking about Betty and Veronica? But where, Veronica's the raven-haired beauty. And when she's first introduced into the Archie comics in the 40s, she's a debutante from out of town who comes into Riverdale for like a dance or something like that, because Archie writes her a note and then passes it off as if Jughead wrote the note. And so then she comes to go on the date with Jughead. Like, I can't remember if he says like, I'm dying or something. It's some crazy cockamamie story that he does to bring her in. And then she's like, I think I'm going to like it here in Riverdale. And she decides to like stay, basically. And so like, that's pretty much how it is. But what's crazy is like, because the digest, they take from the comic. So if you have a comic, so I keep bumping into this, the comic is usually going to follow like a storyline. Sometimes the digests are a hodgepodge of that. So they're not as like consistent with personality things and certain key things about the characters, but it's not consistent in the fact of like what might happen in like day-to-day life. So there might be one Archie where Veronica is all up on Archie and is sweet and loving and is just so into him. And then in the next one, she's like going out with 3 different people. Yeah. And it's like, Archie, I'll just see you when I see you.
So that was my experience, because we were not reading the comic books. We were reading the digest and the double digest. So I have a very like, Veronica to me is just like, ooh.
She's trash.
It's just like, she's trash.
But can I tell you, so wait, it's not my stripper name, but my alter ego name is Veronica Kit, which is a mix of Veronica Lodge and Eartha Kitt. And so then I looked it up online, and there's actually an actress with that name already. So then I changed it to Kit Devereaux for like Blanche Devereaux from the Golden Girls.
Let me tell you. So when we would go out when I was younger, much younger, and like a guy would, try to ask me my name and my number, I would tell him my name was Veronica.
It's the best name. It's the best
Veronica.
name.
Well, what's your number? And then I would give them the number to Rite Aid in El Segundo.
Stop it right now. That is so great.
I know, it's terrible.
I mean, chances are you probably need some sort of ointment for whatever filthy thing he was trying to do for you anyway. So you're really helping him out is really what happened.
So that's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a huge part of my growing up, these comics. I wish I had saved them all like you have. So I know you have an extensive collection.
Yeah.
Where do you keep them?
So like all the places. So there's some in my parents' attic crawl space, not attic crawl space, like up in the garage. There's some in my old childhood bedroom in a box. There's some in my kids' room. Pretty much any place that I go, there's an Archie hidden so that I can either read it at some point or I need it for storage. Like currently there's an Archie in my husband's car. There's two. There's two in his car. There's 2 to 3 in my car. There's about 4 in my kid's bedroom. There's 2 at my grandma Barbara's house. My grandma Z's house, I have them in the car so when I go visit her, they're there. Because if my grandma Z catches it, she'll be like, Kori, what is this? So I can't quite sneak them in her house just yet. I keep them in my luggage so that when I go travel, I make sure that
is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep it in my luggage. I have I'm obsessed with like purses from Goodwill. So like I have a couple stashed in my purse along with lactose intolerance pills because I'm very lactose intolerant. So like there's always a dairy emergency. So I keep the Archies everywhere, like Archie's on deck, because if there's ever an Archie emergency, they're there.
What would constitute an Archie emergency?
When they're not around, that's when it's an Archie emergency.
Are you like ever like, oh my gosh, I'm having such a bad day. I need to read Archie comics.
You know what? It's funny. It unintentionally, yes. Like they're very like, if I've been on my phone too much to the point where like my brain is starting to hurt and my right eye is twitching, I'm like, well, what's wrong? You're on your phone too much. Read an Archie and calm down. And they soothe me. Like they really just like, and I think because it takes me back to my childhood and when I would sit on, my sister and I had twin beds in our room and I would sit on the bed and the sun would come in and it was like this perfect light and I would eat like popcorn and drink lemonade and just get lost. And so it just gives me that like tranquil comfort and feeling. And because it's like, I don't know how to explain this. It takes me to a place where I'm not going to get into my theory on interdimensional lives and whatnot, because I don't quite know what my theories are, but I think there's different stuff out there, man. But like in my mind, there's Archie somewhere. And I don't even necessarily feel like I'm part of the Archie gang, but I'm just enjoying my popcorn, seeing what's going on with the guys. And what's also great is there's so many, like, if you look at it as a TV show, there's so many spinoffs with Archie. Like what I have in front of you is, you see Betty and Veronica Spectacular. This one just says Archie Comics. This says Pep. So Archie started in 1941, in issue number 22 of Pep Comics. But his character was so popular that he ended up getting his own like book, and the company, I think it said MLJ Comics at first or something like that. And then they went to become Archie Comics, and they have like so many spinoffs. Like you've got these that I mentioned. They have Everything's Archie, which they don't really do anymore. Jughead has his own comics. They did Laugh Comics for a while with the Double Digest. They don't make those anymore. But then, like, do you remember Lil Jinx, that character? Lil Jinx?
I kind of do, yeah.
Yeah, so she was from like her series ended, I think, in the 70s. But like she was this little blonde-haired little kid who's like always getting into mischief and
like
stuff.
a Dennis the Menace.
Yes, basically. And then you have Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, I love that.
See?
I love that. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly. And so you've got those comics, and then Sabrina the Teenage Witch became that popular series. even though they did not have the witches look like how they did in the comic strips.
On Netflix.
That's okay.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch this.
I watched it. It was good.
See, okay, so here's my thing. So I'm like a hokey old lady. So because I'm like, this isn't like the series, I'm not going to watch this. But I have heard that it's good.
It is so good. And they do a good balance of like the light and the dark of that character. It's really good.
Now, is it overly like sexualized and stuff?
No.
Okay, so now I might give it a chance. I don't like seeing stuff where like teenagers are boning. That creeps me out as an adult. Like, I don't want to see all that. But
it's not over sexualized. I mean, there's like sex innuendo and stuff like that. But
gotcha.
Yeah, no outright boinking.
Okay, yeah, such a great word.
So speaking of the series, I know that there wasn't there an Archie series?
Okay, wait. I'm not sure what you mean. So yes, there are Archie series. If you're talking about the comics, yes, they had cartoons. There was like Everything's Archie was actually a cartoon in the 60s, I want to say. They actually had a radio series at one point. Then they have Archie's Weird Mysteries, which is another cartoon from like the 90s, early 2000s. They had the New Archies, which came out in the 80s. So I didn't even know about the New Archies until I had started. Did you know about the New Archies?
No, I did not watch. I only know Archie from the Double Digest and the Digest. I have not watched any of the cartoons or animation or anything like that.
They're really cute. They're super corny, but I mean, it's Archie, so it's to be expected.
Yeah.
And the cartoon, the New Archies, it was a cartoon first, and then from that cartoon, they made, they had like a short-lived set of those. And I had one, but I couldn't find it to bring it in. And that you can tell like the animation style is like a lot different. They have this character, these characters, Eugene and Imani. The other Black characters, Chuck and Nancy, are not in those. They have Eugene and Imani instead.
Like you could tell you went from Chuck and Nancy to Eugene and Imani.
Yes, right. Look, that's when it's more a little more 80s, 90s, okay? Not the 60s. But Chuck and Nancy are the ones that like they stayed through even now. They're still in the series. I thought you were about to talk about the TV show.
There was a TV show?
No, it's not a TV show that is Archie. The show Riverdale that they claim is based on the Archie characters, but it's not.
Is it animated or is it people?
No, dude, it's like humans. It's like real people. And I know a lot of people love that show.
So you took your glasses off. You must be about to go in.
So I'm going to try not to. So time out. So my husband was like, Kori, if you talk about Riverdale, you need to calm down because you get too excited and you don't want people hating you because of your feelings on Riverdale. Because here's the thing, it's trash. It's utter trash. And I've never watched the episode, but it's trash. So how can you say a show is trash? You've never watched it. As a TV show, it's probably good, entertaining television show. I'll give it that. It's probably great TV for if you like that sort of stuff. But to call it a show based off the Archie characters?
Really? So
no.
I've never heard of it. I've never seen the trailer.
Very fortunate.
What upset you so much about the trailer?
It bothered. I was really excited at first when I saw it because it was like kind of doing like a darker spin, a darker take. And I know that that's like a thing. They have different comics in the Archieverse. Like they have Archie Afterlife that I read. That came out in like 2013, which is like this zombie thing happens. And then they've got Vampironica, where Veronica is like a justice-wielding vampire. And then they have I think it's called The Hunger, where Jughead is a werewolf. And those are like banging. I didn't think I'd like those, but they're really good.
I'm wondering if I would, maybe the werewolf one.
Yeah, it's actually very good. But what they did was, even though they made it like different, like a whole different type of Archieverse, because they'll call it like the Archieverse when it's something totally different. They stayed true to the meat of who the characters are. Because Veronica, even though she be trifling, her heart is good. She's just trifling a lot of times.
She would actually make a really good vampire.
Yes. See, you could see it.
I could see her. Because she already sucks the life out of Archie anyway. So
exactly.
Why not go ahead and take his blood?
Exactly. So it works. That works. But Riverdale, from what I saw from the trailer and then like other reviews, and I was like, well, maybe I should give it a try. And I tried to look. I just couldn't. So first of all, Betty is addicted to like Adderall or something.
Oh no, they did not.
And guess what? Jughead is an emo. What's the thing the young kids are when they're like emotional?
Over Gen Z?
No,
Gen X?
no, it's a, and I'm not trying to be mocking.
Like,
yeah, emo. I did say it. Okay.
Emo, there's emo music, emo dress.
So apparently Jughead is just kind of like sullen like that. That's not, Jughead is sleepy all the time. He always wants to sleep.
So they're reinterpreting.
Yes.
Okay, so perky, bubbly Betty is only perky and bubbly because she's on Adderall.
Yes. And guess who's dating in that series?
Who?
Jughead and Betty.
Really?
Yeah, they make them date. Now, first off, if you read Archie Comics, like the real ones, you know that Jughead, first off, don't like girls.
He does, yeah. And Betty and Veronica thinks Jughead is ridiculous.
Right. And what they do, even in like the later Archies, like in the 70s and 90s, which is great, you kind of see this friendship develop between Betty and Jughead. So they become like, Jughead at some point starts being like an ally for Betty and being like, well, if you're going to go out with anyone, Archie, it should be Betty. Betty's this, Betty's that. So in one way, if Archie Jughead like girls like that, sure, maybe he'd go for Betty. But no.
So what they shouldn't have said it was based on the characters of Riverdale.
Exactly.
They should have said we're borrowing from the storyline, but we're going to mess it all up.
I love you so much.
That's what they should have said. Oh, these just look, there's nothing, they act nothing like the Archie characters. They just look like them.
Yes.
And we're taking it because we're not creative enough to come up with new content. That's what they
spill
should have just said.
And Archie sleeps with Miss Grundy.
What?
Yeah. I'm glad you Can I tell you, you have no idea how long I have longed to talk to someone about this who would understand. Yes. Old Miss Grundy is like a young hot thing, and she be tooting it up for Archie, apparently.
I'm appalled.
Right? It's like,
I'm appalled.
Just
leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Why does Hollywood have to touch everything and
leave it
make
alone?
It disgusting?
Yeah. And it what it did, it really hurt, because literally I've been like since 8 years old, like reading these comics, and it took something. And yeah, Archie, the girls be in like bikinis half the time, and the guys got their short, and everyone's hot for each other. They're teenagers. You're going to have hormones. I get that. I'm not saying they need to be like Puritans or anything, but it wasn't like that. And so now there's a Riverdale comic, and I tried to read it. It was just like whatever, but it's a comic based on the series. And so I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get into this at all. And if someone likes the show, then cool. Like it's just not for me.
So you love Archie Comics.
Yes. Hallelujah. I do so much.
You love the cartoons.
I do. They're really sweet. Yes. And I just love cartoons in general.
And you're a voiceover actress.
I am. Yes, I am.
So it's what attracts you to the cartoons, the voiceover aspect?
So it's funny that you asked that, because yes. So when I was a little girl, my dad and I would like kind of play this game where we would watch cartoons together, and we would see a character, and let's say we're watching a show and then watch another show, because we'd watch a lot of cartoons together, and he'd go, okay, well, you hear this voice? Where have you heard that voice before? Who did that voice? So I would be like, oh, well, Daffy Duck sounds like Bugs Bunny. And Bugs Bunny also sounds like Elmer Fudd. And so that's when I learned about Mel Blanc, who is like the man of 1,000 voices. Like he's like my hero. And then when I would watch cartoons on my own, I started noticing something, because I liked Inspector Gadget as a kid. And so on Inspector Gadget, there's his niece, Penny. And so I would like hear Penny's voice, and then I would notice on like other stuff, I was like, I feel like I'm hearing Penny's voice again. And you know the show A Different World? Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, now I really hear her voice, because Freddie on A Different World, who is friggin' Cree Summer, is like the voiceover goddess of our generation, of all the generations. Mm-hmm. When you were a kid, any little black girl's voice that you heard, it was Cree Summer.
I did not know that. I didn't even know she did voiceover, but now thinking of her as that character, I can totally see it.
Yes.
I can totally see it.
So she's all the things. Codename Kids Next Door. Susie Carmichael from the Rugrats is her. Yeah, she's Susie Carmichael. She's there's this show called Word Girl that was on PBS. And she was the grandma on that show. I cannot do a Cree Summer voice. That was horrible. I'm so sorry, Cree. I love you, but
That's interesting to me. So even though she was doing a different voice, you could still hear her?
Yes. So what I had learned, and I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but my dad basically, he taught me like when you can hear certain similarities in certain things, because like a good voiceover artist, like they're really good at like changing their voice, where it's almost like seamless, where it's like all of a sudden they're a whole nother character, and then you just don't know what's gonna happen next. But the cool thing about it is like you still hear their essence, and so with Cree Summer, her essence still comes through. Her energy comes through, and she has this amazing like, if a 3-year-old was a chain smoker, raspy voice, and I mean that as like the highest praise. Like she has this delicious, like rasp to her voice that is very signature, because it's just a part of her voice, but it's also so light and airy and like fun. And so the cool thing about her is like, when you hear her, she's able to literally go from like little kid to old woman to like sexy grown woman back to a child. Like there's this show, oh gosh, I don't even know the name of the show, but my best friend Bill was telling me about it. I have like several best friends, and Bill is one of my best friends. Like that's my dog. But he was like, Cree Summer is on that new dating show. She plays like an obelisk, or she's like the voice on this one like Dating by the Signs or something reality
Astrology
show.
Dating or something?
Something like that. So it's her voice. And then if you remember the cartoon movie Atlantis starring Michael J. Fox when we were kids.
Yes.
She's Kira, the
wow. I'm gonna have to Google her. This is really interesting.
And that was the moment for me. Like I was a kid in the theater. Oh, it makes me want to cry. And I'm watching it. I'm pretty sure I was with my dad watching the movie, or my mom, I'm not sure. And the character comes up on screen, and she's got like this like brown skin and this like these ice blue eyes and this like white hair. And she was like powerful and magnificent and beautiful. And she opens her mouth, and I'm like, that's Penny. That's that voice. That's her. That's a Black lady doing that. And I was like, I don't know how old I was. I don't remember, but it was just like, okay, this is she's it. Like she is it.
Is that the moment you knew you wanted to be a voiceover actress?
It was the moment that I felt like I could be. I had always wanted to be. And it was something that I was like, I'm going to do it. I want to do this. But when I actually saw her do it, it was like, oh, so we are doing it now.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't fully, because in my mind, it was just Mel Blanc and June Foray. June Foray is like during the same time when Mel Blanc was doing stuff with Looney Tunes, because he was also Barney Rubble on the Flintstones. He did all, that's my dog. He does all the things.
That's a great voice too.
It's right?
Yeah.
So great. And so June Foray was like the witch on the Looney Tunes. And she did a ton of other voiceover things as well. So those were like my role models, and they're awesome. But it also helps to have like a Black woman that you're like, oh, dude, you're doing this too.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So it was more of, it's not that she inspired me with voiceover in a lot of ways. And so random side note, I actually like got to see her. Yeah, randomly.
Where?
Like at this, so I think the place was called, I want to say it was a bar, and they have like this brown sugar burlesque show that was like really, really good. It was, girl.
Was she dancing, or she was just there?
I wish. No, no, I'm not looking at her like that, but I love her. But the women who were there, I was like, okay, I need to go exercise because they got it on point. But no, she was just there having a good time. And I like saw her through the crowd, and my cousin was like, is that Cree Summer? And I'm like, it is.
Did you go speak to her?
I did. So I didn't want to bother her, but she was walking right past my table, and I got up and I would like walk next to her, and she had a lady with her, and I wasn't trying to like be rude, or so I was like, excuse me, if I can just tell you something. And I just told her how much I appreciated her and how much I loved her. And she was so kind and so gracious. And it was just like a quick little like
That's
30
so
seconds.
nice.
It was very nice of her. Like I really appreciate it. And her friend was real cool. Like, she just let me chat with her. And then, girl, ooh. So she hugged me and she spoke in my right ear, and just thinking about, I heard her voice, and it is crazy to hear a voice that you have loved from afar, because we're in a like a bar, so it's loud. So she had to lean in, and she was like, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." And it was like my eardrum like melted. I'm like, it is Cree Summer's voice,
And she's talking to you
she's
this
to
time.
me.
Yeah.
She is like
In her voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was weird to hear, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. It was weird. I'm so excited. It was weird to hear her regular speaking voice, because I always hear her as characters, and on a different world, she's playing Freddie, and it's her voice, but it's a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
And so just to like actually hear, and it was really buttery. Like her voice it's really smooth, and I wasn't expecting it to be like as smooth, but I love it. But just girl, it was one of those moments where I'm like, well, Lord, if you take me now, I've completed everything in life that I actually need. So thanks. But yeah, and then like she just seems like real cool, and her whole little vibe. It's just, man, okay, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna sound like a crazy person, but she's all the things.
When was that when you saw her?
This was like
Recently?
yeah, like last weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It was last weekend. It was last weekend.
Was it before or after you knew you were coming on the podcast?
This was it before? It was after I knew I was coming on the podcast, but before I knew what we were going to talk about. So
That's
it
so
was like,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like, so when I was talking to Motown about it,
Uh-huh.
hey Mo, I was like, oh wait, and I did just meet Cree Summer, by the way. Like, I'm just throwing that in there.
It's so perfect how everything is lined up.
It really is.
It is.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Lord. Thank you. It was great. It was, she's the best. So, dang it. So so now I really have to tell Bill, because I've purposely been hiding the fact that I've met her.
From Bill?
Yes, because I want to tell him in person so that I can see his reaction. So I got to run and tell him before the podcast comes out.
Does he live out here or he lives?
Oh yeah, he's one of my best friends that I met when I went to college in Minnesota, but he lives out here now. When I went to, I keep hitting the mic. So yeah, I met him in Minnesota.
It's funny that you mentioned college in Minnesota, because that's a great segue for your next obsession that we're about to get into.
I wonder what that could be.
Yes, right after we come back from this quick break.
Awesome. Cool.
What people don't realize is that our ancestors were revolutionaries. So if you have Haitian blood running through your veins, you too have the DNA of revolutionaries.
I've come to accept Motown is not like the rest of us.
Take it or leave it.
Motown was fearless. He thought out of the box. He did whatever was needed to elevate the Haitian cultural club.
Motown's devotion to HCC taught us that even though you may not be fluent in the language, you could still be passionate about Haitian culture.
Motown, he was a true leader. People wanted to follow him.
Who's gonna win? For the Prince!
He was definitely the glue that kept us together.
Capital City! For the Prince!
Anything Motown touched turned gold. And he made that Haitian cultural experience so much better.
Representing Haiti! For the Prince! 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 For the Prince!
All I ever wanted from my sister was for Motown to be my brother. Like, come on, it's Motown. Is that too much to ask for?
Spearheading the festival with Motown Maurice is one of my highlights as a Haitian American, and I will never forget it.
Audacity of Host is streaming now on Tubi. For more information, visit MotownMaurice.com. We're back! Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm excited because I got some more of this drink.
Oh, and what are you drinking?
I'm drinking an Atara special. In her kitchen, she had the wisdom, grace, and kindness to blend in her $500 juicer some fabulous and absolutely refreshing pineapple ginger. It's delicious.
We just call it tropical.
They're
'cause
tropical.
It's tropical fruit.
Refreshing. And my husband actually turned me on to these because he loves ginger. Like, ginger is his secret baby mama. And so he loves it.
He likes raw ginger, ginger candy.
All the ginger. I don't know if he likes ginger candy now that I think about it. He's just like, if I'm cooking something that there's going to be ginger in it, it's like, pour it
I'm
on.
going to give you a couple pieces of this ginger candy that we have, so you can take it back to him and get his opinion.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
So he's gonna get a nice little care package today. Some little
you are
ginger candy and some the juice sample.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I also have to give him a shout out too, because he is the reason I got to meet Cree Summer. So at this like club that he goes to, which is really cool. One of the bartenders.
Oh, I know where you're talking.
Yeah. So one of the bartenders works there, and had mentioned to him about the event. And so he was like, oh, you should go. It's probably fun. I was like, I don't really know. And he was like, no, I think one of us should really go. Take your cousin. And so he was like really instrumental and was like, go. I think you'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. And so he was like, when I guess when my cousin saw that he was there, somehow he communicated with her like, she sees her, okay, make her go talk to her or something like that. But my cousin was already doing it when she realized like, oh, she's here. Kori loves her. And then they was like texting and plotting.
To make you
yeah, he's awesome.
Your Cree Summer moment.
I love her so much. Okay, so.
Well, we're going to get into some more moments that you've had with this next obsession.
Oh my gosh.
The Golden Girls.
So great.
It is. And I will say, I watched The Golden Girls too.
Yes.
And, if I was flipping through the channels and it was an episode and I had already seen the episode and maybe it was like 20 minutes left, I would still go ahead and watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm not obsessed like you are.
And that's okay. We all have our level of golden love. Okay.
That's true. It's true. We're all golden to some level.
Exactly. Everyone's golden. So this ensemble that I'm wearing is a Golden Girls inspired frock that I ordered online. It's giving 1989.
It's very Blanche.
Yes. Oh, girl, honey, child,
with the shoulders out,
little shimmy.
Yeah, very Blanche. How did you? So when you started watching Golden Girls, were you watching it because like your mom was watching it, or aunt was watching it, or you just?
Okay, good question. So my grandma Barbara, when I was a little girl. It's so random that I remember this. I was probably like 9, 7. I don't know how old. They have this, her and my grandpa had this little TV in the kitchen. They still have a little TV in the kitchen. It's just a flat little screen now. But anyway, this little TV in the kitchen. And I see this show and I was like, this is so funny. And I'm like, but this woman is loose. I don't think I should be watching this. And that was Blanche. And I was like, but this is so funny. But I'm like, I don't think this is appropriate for me, but I loved it. So I kind of kept that in the back of my mind. And then in high school, I want to say like it was my junior year. I'm watching Lifetime, right? And all of a sudden the Golden Girls comes on. And I'm like, oh, that's that show that I liked when I was a little kid. And I'm like, well, I can watch it now. I'm a grown up. I'm 16 years old. And so I started watching it and it was just like, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life is watch this show. And so I watched the Golden Girls like religiously. It was to the point where, first off, you couldn't call our house past 10 o'clock. That was the rule that my mom had. But if you were one of my few friends who was allowed to call past 10, don't call Kori at 11 o'clock my senior year of high school because I'm watching the Golden Girls. Because it used to come on at like 8 and they would do like a couple episodes and then it was like on at 11. And it was like legit, I kept it on repeat to the point where when I was a kid, my dad would record The Simpsons on VHS because I could talk all day about The Simpsons. Me and my dad danced to Do the Bartman at my wedding. Like, that is my other show.
It's so funny.
It's so great. But the Golden Girls, so I would like record the Golden Girls and King of the Hill randomly. And I recorded it so much to the point where I had like about, I want to say 6 or 8 VHSs that I took with me to college. When I went off to school, because it was one of those shows where I'm like, it's freaking hilarious.
It is pretty funny.
It's so funny. Like, and I have it. So random side note, my dad and my mom have pointed out that I have a love for old people. I don't know what it is. I love the elderly. Babies, I mean, they cool, whatever. But give me a nice old person. I'm like, I just want to hug you, abuelitas. But so to see like feisty old broads who were like boning, didn't know you could do that past like 60, was just like, are you kidding me? Like, it's great. Like, just to see these fun, confident women who were so different from each other. And it kind of like reminded me of like my own friend group, my group of girls like in junior high and high school. I still have the same friends that I had from junior high school till now. Like,
you're so wholesome. Like, my gosh.
Those are my girls.
So you connected with the Golden
Yeah.
Girls. So you were like, were you seeing yourself in them? Were you connecting to them?
You know,
how were you connecting to them?
It's funny because as I'm talking to you right now, I just realized across that I connected with the Golden Girls is also like one of my other favorite shows, Living Single, in the sense of like you have, because to me, Max is Blanche, Khadijah is Dorothy, Rose is Sinclair.
Oh my God, you're
Sophia
blowing
is
my
Regine.
mind right now.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Max is Blanche.
Yes. Some might say it's Regine. No. Because Regine ain't the horny one. Max is down for a good time.
Yeah.
Now, Regine is a little more to the sophistication of Blanche. So you could make it a blend of those two.
Right.
But yeah.
Max, oh my God, body goals. I wanted her body so
Legit.
bad. Oh my gosh.
Legit. But I guess you could also switch Max and Sophia because Max is super funny and Sophia is a super funny. So
I think both
flip.
shows had you could see the different characters represented amongst the people in both shows.
Exactly. Yeah. And it really made me think of, it's funny because it almost makes me want to cry because Max makes me think of my homegirl Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they look alike, they're hilarious alike. But it definitely was like seeing myself in these characters and like the sweetness of like Rose like makes me think of like my buddy Courtney and Jessica makes me think of Dorothy because she's like very smart and quick and just all the different ways. And then even my college friends, like I literally like see, because so speaking of college.
Right, I was just about to say.
I went to St. Olaf College.
Okay, this is the other thing that I just find, like, those ladies really didn't go to St. Olaf College.
Okay,
right?
okay, so technically, so Betty White's character, Rose, lived in a fictional town called St. Olaf. And the legend has it that the fictional town of St. Olaf was created because one of the show writers went to Carleton College. Carleton College is St. Olaf's enemy school.
So the college is real.
The college is real.
But the town
is fake.
Is fake.
Yes. And so
and you decided to go to St. Olaf because a fictional character, who you're obsessed with, went there.
She's from that town. She didn't go to
the town that doesn't exist.
Exactly. I think her character went to the University of Gustav. I don't think she went to St. Olaf College on the show because they mention it. But yeah. Goose Davis, there's actually a College of Goose Davis, and that's where I think Betty White's character went to. But anyway, side note, that's why I went because, so this is the thing. So my dog Alexis, that's my girl. Like I met her and we actually went to elementary school together and then high school together. And so we're still like, that's my best friend. I'm going to mention several best friends. Everyone I've named, I'm like,
do they know that they're all your best friends?
So they do know, but everyone knows that like I'm kind of, if we want to talk obsession, my husband tells me that I'm obsessed with Alexis because I am just a little bit. Like I'm kind of obsessed with her. Like she's pretty awesome. But all my friends are awesome. I don't have trash friends. That's why I love you guys because you guys are awesome. I don't keep trash people in my life. No, thank you. Basuda stays over there.
I'm awesome. You're awesome by proximity.
She won't even let me have the compliment.
You take it off. Mo is awesome. Because I got to meet you because of him. So that's what makes. So see, Mo keeps awesome people in his life.
Awesome too.
Yep. See all the things. He knows that you keep good people in your life too. Okay.
I try.
Yeah.
Believe me, I try. It can be hard.
I love it.
But when you went to St. Olaf College, did you have any friends that went with you, or you went on your own?
I was all alone, and so this.
I that doesn't surprise me because if you had been like, "Hey, Atara bestie, go with me to St. Olaf College," I would have been like,
No. So, and I also blame Alexis. So I didn't even know St. Olaf existed. She told me about the college. And she was like, well, since you like the Golden Girls, you should apply to St. Olaf. And I was like, they have a school? And so then I literally applied as like a joke. And I got in. And then when I got in, they were like, hey, we need Black people at our college. You make good grades and you're smart and we have certain scholarships. Take that dough, girl.
What did you study?
Women's studies and theater.
So when you were walking the halls of St. Olaf College, were you like thinking, not Betty, but
yeah, it was Rose.
Rose went here. Did you think that to yourself?
So because I knew that the town was fake, yes and no. Because she actually did visit the campus at one point. Because the show was so big, she did actually visit the school. So I can say that I breathed the same illustrious Minnesota air that Betty White breathed at some point.
So not only were you obsessed with the Golden Girls.
Yes.
You're real. So let me ask you this. So not only were you obsessed with the Golden Girls, you're obsessed with Betty White.
I love her so much.
Which came first? Like, were you obsessed with Betty White because of the Golden Girls?
So what it was is I actually liked her before I started really, really getting into the Golden Girls because like I can't even remember the other things that I would see her in because she would always have like play funny old lady roles and stuff. And so I liked her in stuff that I saw, but then watching the Golden Girls, it was like, oh, she's the bomb. That's what it was. The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh,
she plays
that's right.
Yeah, she plays as Tramp on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Which is why she didn't want to play. She was initially up for the part of Blanche. But I think it's like Suzanne Nivens or Nivell. So I'm getting the name wrong. And she didn't want to play that character again. So then Rue
you mean Tramp as in like a loose woman? I thought you meant Tramp as
like a hobo?
Yeah.
No. She was a floozy and a scallywag on that show. But she did such a good job of being a floozy and a scallywag. And then...
Girl, what like language are you speaking?
It's the Archie Comics. No, like legit. Like, okay, they don't use the words floozy and scallywag in the Archie Comics, but they use a lot of old stuff because I read the digest and it's usually it's from like the 50s through the 80s and 90s and now are the bits and pieces that they take from it.
I can't even imagine calling someone a tramp these days. Like...
Because the lady is a tramp.
I was just like to say she just likes to get it in. I mean,
but see, that just sounds so crass. Tramp is clean and to the point. Or floozy. That gives it a little more razzmatazz.
Floozy.
Exactly. You almost feel a little proud to call yourself a floozy or a loose woman. But that's okay. Either way, you do what you want to do with your own body because it's yours, girl. But yeah.
Hashtag. You need to put a hashtag in front of that. Everything is hashtag these days.
Hashtag.
You do what you want to do with your own body because it's yours, girl.
Floozy.
And period.
Yes. All those things. And more. And that's why I love Blanche. That's why I love all of them. Because see, here's the thing that people be sleeping on. Like on the show... They make it seem like Blanche was the only one like doing it. All of them.
They were all doing that. It's just Blanche owned it.
Yes.
And that's the problem today.
Yes.
Like if you want to get it in and don't be ashamed about it.
Yeah. And the other thing that I love is because Blanche would do it with just like anybody. Well, not anybody. She was picky, but she was picky with a lot of people. With Rose and them.
She was picky with a lot of people.
Yeah, she was picky. She was just picking a lot of them who she was picky with, okay? With Rose and Blanche and Sophia, Rose, Dorothy, and Sophia, they were sleeping with people. It was just like they would have a boyfriend.
Sophia was sleeping with people?
Oh, she totally was. So there's an episode where his name is Tony Govecchio, where it's this guy, this old man, and Dorothy tells her, Ma, I told you keep both feet on the floor when you go out with him. And Blanche dresses her up. It's the greatest line ever. So Sophia's coming out of the room because Blanche is dressing her. And she says, I took an 80-year-old woman and turned her into a 50-year-old drag queen. And she comes out in this red dress and all this makeup and it's just the greatest. But they didn't have them sleep around a ton. It was just when they had a boyfriend, it was like, within the next episode or something, or it was real quick when they were sleeping with dudes.
3-month rule.
Yeah, no, not at all. What are 3 months? When you're 972 years old, you ain't got 3 months to wait. You don't.
When you're 50, you don't got 3 months to wait.
Look, that part.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely it's just the best.
I do miss that show. That's another one of those shows that's like worry free.
Yes.
You know, everything on television
Yeah.
now is like, oh, I'm gonna get evicted because the rent's late, or you know, my child's father didn't show up for some reason or another, or I don't know. It's always some like, it's too realistic. Can we just? Because I watch television or I watch TV or movies or whatever to escape reality.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And that's why I tend to stick to fantasy these days, because
That
it's
makes
totally not realistic at all.
That makes a lot of sense.
At least not on this plane that we're on. Because you were talking about earlier, you were talking about interdimensional something
Dude,
or
there's
other.
dimensions all over, man. Different stuff is happening everywhere. Somewhere, someplace, there's this conversation happening right now.
Probably.
Think
but
about it, my
I'm
sister.
you and you're me.
There we go. Speak on it. Speak on it.
And I understand one of your kids is named after one of the Golden Girls?
Yes. So my youngest daughter, well, I love how I said youngest daughter when I only have one daughter. I have a little boy and have a little girl. So my youngest child, who is my daughter, yes, her name is Sophia. And it is spelled with a PH. And yes, it is because of Sophia Petrillo. I named my little black child on an old fictional white woman.
Well, that's what I love about you, is that you're able to like identify with these women.
I love them so much.
Who, okay, so people think like you can only identify with someone who like looks like you, is from the same culture, speaks the same language. But we recently had another episode where I was talking a lot about humanity, which I think is really missing in the world.
Yeah.
But this is the epitome of what is, what humanity is being able to look at someone else from a completely different culture, completely different place, and see yourself and identify. Like, why? Because we're all, at the core, we're all human beings.
100%.
You know?
I love you for that, man.
So it's just really beautiful.
Yeah. It is. So, okay, so here's the thing. Thank you. Thank you for that. I love how you said that. You made it so much deeper than how I've been seeing her name. But yes, exactly. It's because of humanity, Sophia. That's why I named you that. We're joining people together. But I wanted to name her Sophia Rose, and my husband was like, no, we're not.
I was going to say, like, how come you didn't name her Betty or Rose?
Yeah, and I'm kind of, so I'm not mad, but I recently saw someone post, because I'm part of this, like, Golden Girls fan group on Facebook, and an Archie fan Facebook, but classic Archie fan group, only the classics,
Americana only,
basically, just the classics. But where someone had named their daughter like Betty Rose, and I was like, that's such a pretty name.
It is.
It's a really pretty name. But so it's funny because you mentioned my daughter being named that. The kids know about the show, but they call it the grandmas. So like if I'm watching it and I'm like, they're like, it's our turn to watch TV. So they'll get their cartoons, which I watch with them because I love their cartoons. Bluey is banging, by the way.
My niece loves Bluey.
It's so
loves Bluey. Oh. So wait, you said my turn. You guys only have one TV in the house?
Yeah, so we just have one TV in the house. Yeah, we just have one TV.
They don't have tablets or anything?
No.
Wow.
No. Well, first off, they're only 5 and 4.
Oh.
So,
well.
And for some people, it works for them. For some people, their kid having a tablet. And I can definitely see how helpful that can be. And like one of my really, really good friends, her daughter, our daughters are the same age, and she has a tablet. And that little girl is smart as a whip. Mm-hmm. You know, she's learned so much off her tablet. So there's a lot of benefits to it. But I know for myself, if I look at a screen too long, I get a headache. Mm-hmm. I start feeling kind of icky. And I know that there's benefits, but I also know that there can be like detriments to it. So I just prefer with my kids, they don't have their own personal tablets. Now, will I let my son play with my phone sometimes? Yes. You know, every now and then he'll like get to play a game on my phone. Currently, I have 3 games that I have to erase because I forgot that he had my phone. And I was like, why do I have Scrabble and this and that on there? So, you know. But yeah, in our house, we just have the one TV. And my husband was really smart. He put it on rollers. So we have it in the living room, but we'll roll it into the bedroom and have like movie night. And so the kids will climb in bed with us and we'll watch it. Or the other day I had them where like sometimes we'll like put an inflatable mattress in the living room or something.
Oh,
so that, have it like that. But yeah, so they'll watch their shows, and then when it's mommy's turns, they know it's either Bob's Burgers or it's the Golden Girls. And what's really cool, you had said about the Golden Girls, how it's lighthearted, and it is. And that's one of the things that I love about it. Also with like Archie's, I could just like go off into my own little world, and their fashions are amazing. Like, but apparently Blanche's Rue McCallahan had written in her contract that she would get to keep the clothing from the show.
Really?
Yeah, girl. And so her estate auctioned off like her stuff. Now, I don't know if they auctioned all of it, but if I had all the coins in the world, I would buy the robe that she wears throughout the series.
That pink satin robe.
Yeah. It's that pink satin one. And she has another one that's like, and I don't even know, it's like a like floral kind of print looking thing. Or maybe I'm mixing it with the pink satin one.
No, it was kind of like blues and pinks and peaches.
Yes, that one. Yes. Love it. But one of the things that I love about the show is how seamlessly, especially for a show that was like in the late 80s, early 90s, they wove in like some controversial stuff. Like there's an episode where they talk about AIDS because Rose gets a letter from her doctor, her hospital, saying that this transfusion she had a couple years ago, it might have been mixed with blood that had AIDS antibodies, because at the time they didn't know it, so she needed to get tested.
Wow.
And it's really good. Like, how she has to like go get tested, and then she doesn't realize that she doesn't get the results for 3 days. And Sophia doesn't want to drink any cups that she knows Rose drank out of. And all these like the different prejudices that you think of with AIDS. And Rose has this really great monologue where it's not a monologue, but she's like, how could this happen to me? I'm a goody two shoes. Something like this should happen to you, Blanche. And Blanche is like, no, like AIDS isn't a bad people's disease. It's not God punishing people for their sins. Like, it's what happens. And it's all that. And Rose is like, you're right, I'm sorry. But it was done in such a good way that it was like, oh, shoot. Like
a natural way.
Yes.
It's kind of like if someone who actually thinks that and they're watching this, the realization would sneak up on them that the way they're thinking is incorrect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so good they did that. And then I love Blanche. So there's an episode where her brother comes to visit, her brother Clayton, and he comes out to her, and it's just hilarious because she's like, well, I never thought you'd be gay. Like, you're just like me. And she starts describing herself and him, and he's like, irresistible to men. Yes. And she's like,
I was about to say, now they could go out together.
Look, legit. And just like her, where at the end, it wasn't as if they had this happy moment and she's like, okay, brother, it's fine. She was like, it's gonna take me a while to get used to this, but I love you, which is real and honest. Yeah. And like how she's like, I got these prejudices, but I gotta work through them, because it was one of those things where for her, it was like, it's okay for everybody else, but you're my brother. And so she had to work through that. And I love that they show how the characters will have opinions different from our own, but can learn and grow and have their prejudices and have their thoughts. But that's part of what makes us wonderfully flawed and human, and realizing that just because you think a certain way, don't treat people bad because of it. Figure it out.
Yeah. Or you don't have to be enemies with someone who doesn't think the same thing as you,
I love it.
Yeah. That really was a good show.
It's such a good show. And it still comes on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's on Hulu. If you have Hulu, it's on Hulu. It also is on, I'm pretty sure it still comes on. Yeah, it does still come on Lifetime at night. I just, like you, I don't have cable now. So yeah, I know it's on Hulu. I don't know what other platforms it's on.
I'll have to find it. I would like to check out an episode.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It's also a good show to just have on in the background. Like
100%.
Yeah, if you're just doing other things, because it's familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, those familiar voices. Yes. Yeah.
And what's cool, this is my random side note about it. There's a lot of random guest stars in there. Quentin Tarantino is on an episode.
Really?
Yes. He plays it. I saw your face in the background, Motown. Yes. He plays an Elvis impersonator without any lines. There's an episode where, and I clocked it, where Sophia gets married to her best friend who's died's husband. Scandal. I know, girl. So Rose accidentally switches the invitations for the wedding invitations to these Elvis impersonator and invitations because they've got like this Elvis fan club and they were like trying to hire folks. And so there's like all these Elvis impersonators at their wedding. And Quentin Tarantino is like doing this dance and it's really odd and awkward, but it's hilarious. So he's in there. Mario Lopez is on an episode of The Golden Girls. Bob Hope is on it. Like they have, of course, well-known stars for the time. And then you see people who it's like, oh, child, that was your come up right there. Okay.
That's so funny.
Yes,
That's
it's
yeah,
great.
that's, you know,
It's great.
so I know Betty, I know she left us. When did she leave us?
Yes. So Betty White went to be with the Lord. And I hate that I'm going to get the year wrong. I want to say 2021. I'm pretty sure it was December of 21 because it was right before her 100th birthday. So it was either 21. Because
it was during the lockdown. I didn't realize it was so recent.
Maybe it was. And that's the other thing is because of this lockdown, my sense of time is like really messed up. So it might have been in 2019, but I don't think it was, but it could have been. All I know is my girl gone. But hopefully she's with her husband, Alan Ludden, and that's another reason I love her. So another reason I love her is because of how much he was actually her third husband. Yeah, girl.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Betty. Their love story was just so sweet. And like when you look at pictures of them, it's just like all this love. And what I learned is he died right before she started doing the Golden Girls. And her character on the show lost her husband suddenly. Now Betty White's husband had cancer, but on the show, Rose's character lost her husband and she's like crazy about him. And there's this monologue that she does. It's one of those like, where they do clip show episodes of shows, but it's not with the Golden Girls. What they would do, which was awesome, is they would have a clip show, but it wasn't of actual previous episodes. It would be like new things that they would like make up and put it together like a clip show.
Yeah, I think they did that with Seinfeld once.
Okay,
yeah.
So, and she is like giving this monologue where it's her birthday and she's talking to her deceased husband and telling him like, I want to move to Minnesota. I heard some really great things about Miami, because it's as if it's flashing back to before she gets there. And just Betty White is an amazing actress. And really watching that as an actress is like, oh, dang. Like, it's not just all fun and games with her. It's like you're about to see like her heart, like legit out there. And she takes this breath at the end. And it's like just seeing her range and just how like she like takes you through so many different emotions and it's just effortless. It's like I really appreciate her as an actress.
I sometimes wonder how actresses and actors like that who are able to take you through the emotional range and have it feel free. I mean, have it feel real. Like,
real.
How do they recover?
So it's funny you say that, and now I'm going to give a shout out to Fred Ponslov, the greatest acting teacher on the face of the earth. That's right, the Fred Ponslov. He's this acting teacher that he moved and left me. He's in New Mexico, and I wish he was out here again because I love him so much. But one of the things that he taught us, that he learned from the Meisner technique of acting, is that when you act, the backstory has to be real, but you use imaginary situations to get you there. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm doing a play, and in this play, I play a character who was beaten by their father, okay? And let's say in real life, my father actually beat me in real life. I should not use my mind and my memory to think about when my father beat me to give a monologue about my parent beating me. But instead, you create for your character, what did they actually go through? What happened with them? And you take their reality and make it through that character.
So you use your character's backstory.
Yes, and you create a backstory for your character. So like, one of the things that he taught us, which is awesome, is like, let's say I'll just take Betty White's character, Rose. I'm sure she was given background on what her character is, but she probably also decided she was raised on a dairy farm. Did she like the dairy farm? What were the animals that she had there? Who were her best friends growing up? So all this stuff that you make for this person, how did you meet your husband? What was the first time you guys kissed? So that when you get into that headspace, you can actually it's weird. once he taught me that technique, I legit will like write out the year that my character was born.
That person.
Yes,
You're
all that
becoming
stuff.
that person.
Yes,
and you can't become that person if there's no backstory.
Exactly.
And so you have to create that person's backstory in order to be them.
And so then when you are them in that moment, you're feeling real legit emotions. It's the truth coming out. Mm-hmm. But then when you're done, you can step out of it because it's not your actual lived experience. Even if you've dealt with something that's similar to what your character is, you don't tap into that actual memory of your own to get those dark emotions because that's hard to get out of.
Yeah.
But creating it for the other character, you can take yourself out later on.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I also learned a lot of like with the voiceover acting. I have another great teacher, Ann Ganguza. She's awesome.
I don't know why I laugh every time you look at the camera like that.
I love looking at the camera, by the way.
Clearly.
So she's this voiceover teacher who has taught me a lot about like creating character and like literally like drawing out the character that you have for this voice that you want to do and making a backstory for them and then like how to keep it consistent. I need to take classes with her again. She is still in California. Okay. But yeah, it's all that stuff. So I got to give Mo his shout out because when Betty White passed away, I actually had multiple people call and text me and ask, "Are you okay? How are you doing?" Because they knew like that's my grandma. And so I was like, you know what? I'm okay. And the reason I was okay is because of the episode that I did with you, because I actually got to talk about my obsession with her and get it out in the ether, how much I love her, because it was more that I had previously mourned not acting with her when she was like retired, and being able to talk about wanting to work with her and stuff on your show helped so much for that. So thank you. 'Cause all the girls are goldening in the sun now.
They're goldening in the golden.
Right? they stay golden. But yes, thanks, Mo. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That 36 for 36. Motown, where can they find that?
It's on YouTube. 36 for 36 and Kori's name, Kori. And it's on the Late Night Experiment YouTube channel. Yeah.
I've actually watched them all. So,
you're good.
Yeah, I've watched them all because it's an interesting group of people.
It really is.
And I enjoy people's stories, which is another reason I'm doing this podcast. So,
awesome.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Aww,
and yours is fun too. It's nice and fun.
I tried.
I loved it.
I appreciate you.
So, Kori, if people want to find you because they may also have a love or obsession with Betty White and Golden Girls and Archie, and they want to collaborate and they want to talk to you, where can they find you?
So I am on the Instagram at starring Kori Denise. That's StarringKoriDenise. I hope that's how I spelled it. Starring Kori Denise.
Starring Kori Denise.
Yes, and right now it's a picture of me with like a scarf on my head, and probably nothing else. So when I say I'm like a 78-year-old woman with only one finger, I mean it. I don't know how to do the Instagrams and all that stuff. I just tap, tap, tap. So there's not a lot of content up, but I'm trying to put more up.
But people can still DM you. They can slide in your DMs.
Slide them DMs, boo, but I'm a married woman and I love my husband. But slide in, but not like that. I'm no Blanche. But Blanche was actually very faithful to her husband. Anyway, that's another time of Golden Girls talk.
Speaking of Blanche, you have on a very Blanche outfit.
I do declare. Thank you.
You know, when I think of that show, I always think of, all I can remember is muumuus. Lots of like flowing clothing.
Yes, everything was flowing.
Everything was flowing. And I think Blanche, she would wear flowy stuff, but she always had her shoulders out.
Yeah, look, there is nothing worse than wasting a beautiful décolletage. If you got it, baby.
Décolletage.
Just
explain what that is.
So that's your clavicle right here. Like, so if there is anything that the women on both sides of my family have. We got nice legs, and girl, we got some sexy clavicles. So that décolletage, if you could
How's mine? What do you think of my décolletage?
can I tell you, it's lovely. You've got the beautiful skin right there, and you can see just enough bone structure to where it's, it's
not
just
too
like
padded.
No, not at all.
No.
Look, ain't nothing wrong with a little extra meat both in the seat and where it attracts all the heat. Okay, like
I have
just
started moisturizing down here too.
that's the key, because people, and that's one of the things my mother and my grandmother taught me is when you do the facial lotion, first you do it upwards, because it's like it keeps the skin going up and taut, and you make sure to get all in the décolletage. And this dress, exactly. And this dress is my Golden Girls inspired because it has the
print, the Miami print.
Exactly. It's got the stuff, so I'm swirling back and forth like a little kid.
All right, folks. So if you're looking for Kori Denise, you know where to find her on Instagram at starring Kori Denise.
Yes, please do.
And do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you never have to miss a single episode of Sip and Chat Cafe.
It's so good, girl.
So good.
So good. You
Girl, you so good.
You so good.
Girl, no, you.
I love you so
You
much.
the best, girl.
You the best.
Girl.
You the best.
No, you the best.
You the best.
You the best.
We both the best.
We both the best. We the bestest. Yes, girl, we the bestest. We the bestest. We the bestest.
You're welcome, Motown. You're welcome.